In February 2012, when I was 19 years old, I was sitting across from a lawyer who asked me if I planned on getting married within the next month. I looked at my boyfriend at the time, stressed, and said no. The lawyer said it was our only hope because my boyfriend Oscar's visa was expiring and he would not be able to renew it in the United States. Deportation or marriage were the only options. Oscar was legally in the United States and had been here since he was 17 years old, but would no longer have a work visa, was unable to apply for a student visa, and virtually had all rights cut off after his stepfather and mother's divorce. His only hope was to request voluntary deportation back to Managua, Nicaragua. Oscar would spend the next 2 years following this meeting fighting in immigration court. While Oscar was not an illegal immigrant, his K-9 visa status was the only thing that separated him when it came to the little privileges, rights, and opportunities that illegal immigrants face. For me, it brought to light the injustice and cruel workings of our immigration system. Due to my experiences firsthand, I believe there needs to be a change. We as American people need to make the decision to promote amnesty for illegal immigrants, many of whom are minors, as well as reform immigration laws for those who are here legally but are struggling with their visa and green card statuses. We need to vote and make the necessary changes now for our future. On a humanitarian level, it is unfair and wrong to play with people's lives in the manner that these current laws do. We need to change this. We need to acknowledge that pro-amnesty and immigration reform are essential for our country's growth. In addition to people who are struggling to stay legally, according to Homeland Security, there are 11 million illegal immigrants currently in the United States, and that number is climbing. According to CNN, 1,200 are crossing the Rio Grande in Texas every day. Up to 400 of those people are unaccompanied children. Democrat Representative Henry Puehler called the situation a humanitarian crisis. CNN states that an expected amount of 60,000 unaccompanied children will cross the border this year. Many of these people are being forced into overcrowded facilities and sent out on Greyhound buses to various cities where they are dumped and expected to find their families. In response, the country's loose borders must be fixed. To do this, we need immigration reform. We need amnesty because, as the administration acknowledges, it is just not practical to deport 11 million undocumented immigrants living within our borders. While strengthening our borders to handle the influx of illegal immigrants, the reformed laws would need to extend to those who are here legally trying to enter the country as well. Besides Oscar, when I was younger, my pediatrician told my family about her husband from Colombia. They both graduated from medical school in the United States, married, and had 2 daughters. Because her husband's student visa was up, he would have to return to Colombia for 2 to 3 years before renewing it. My doctor and her husband packed up their entire family, uprooted, and left in order to stay together. While the borders are an issue, uprooting families, deportation, and the tedious process of citizenship needs to be reevaluated. In order to do this, the solution must come from the American people deciding to make a change and voting for the people who are willing to promote this change. In response to the failing system, the Obama administration has fought for a common-sense proposal addressing 3 key aspects to strengthen and reform the immigration system. First, according to the White House website, the President's proposal calls for improving and strengthening borders. Second, the proposal calls for cracking down on employers for hiring undocumented workers to make it fair play. Third, the proposal wishes to improve the immigration court system. Through amnesty, the common sense proposal declares that these illegal immigrants must earn their citizenship in order to stay. The Obama administration also wishes to entice entrepreneurs with startup visas and staple green card to science, technology, mathematics, and master's degree diplomas. These reforms would also ideally cut back on illegal immigration and promote legal immigration with a more efficient process. So why should we do this? Why should we care about people trying to come into our country and make a living? Why should we care about people who are struggling legally or illegally for citizenship? How does this benefit us as a nation? The answer is that it would strengthen us on an economic and humanitarian level. From an economic standpoint, it would strengthen our country and middle class, contrary to the outcry you may have heard regarding immigrants taking up all American jobs. With immigration reform, the common sense proposal will give the opportunity to even the playing field with jobs, as well as collect taxes on the 11 million individuals that are already living in the United States. According to the Congressional Budget Office, it is estimated that the immigration reform would increase real gross domestic product of roughly $700 billion by 2023 and $1.4 trillion in 2033 in today's dollars. Also, according to the Partnership for a New American Economy, immigrants started 28% of all new business in 2011. The economy is also expected to grow with tourism due to easier visa access. With the new reforms in visas and granting amnesty, this will also encourage illegal and legal immigrants to pursue an education in the United States and stay in the United States. Going back to the example of my doctor, this would enable young lawyers, doctors, engineers, and teachers to pursue their fulfilling careers in our markets. And furthermore, it is the morally right thing to do. We take pride in being a country that stands by its people and does the right thing. We are a country that is built upon immigration. We should help and build our community with diversity. We should not play with people's lives and futures by denying them basic rights that we take for granted because of faulty visa laws. Doctors who are educated in our country should not be sent home after their visas expire, uprooting their wives and children in the process. Young men and women who are brought here by their parents should not be forced to return home because their visa can no longer be petitioned through that marriage. Families should not be ripped apart. As Republican Jeb Bush stated, to be young and dynamic again, we have to be young and dynamic again. People need to view immigration reform not as a problem, but as a huge opportunity. On both Democratic and Republican fronts, senators and representatives have acknowledged that immigration is a system that needs to be fixed. Reform is needed. Amnesty is needed. The country would not only benefit on an economic standpoint, but on a humanitarian one as well. I urge you to get involved by voting for politicians in the future, such as Democrat Hillary Clinton or Republican Jeb Bush, who both acknowledge the need for immigration reform and plan to work with both parties to a successful solution. To get involved today, or more directly, you can also visit reformimmigrationforamerica.org and sign the petition for pro-amnesty and immigration reform, as well as email your representative. By doing this, we will make a positive change for the country. By doing this, people like Oscar will not be sent home, as he is this coming August, for something out of his control. By doing this, we will not rip apart families. By doing this, we will make lives like his easier and strengthen our country morally and economically. As President Barack Obama stated, the lesson of 236 years later is clear. Immigration makes America stronger. Immigration makes us more progressive. And immigration positions America to lead in the 21st century.